Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Hippiah,
Yes.
Fry,
Present.
Schroller,
Here.
Hughes,
Present.
Bikeman,
Present.
Price,
Present.
Behrens,
Present.
Fromm.
Here.
8-0, we have a quorum.
Okay. First up, we have the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any corrections, additions, changes?
Move to approve regular minutes, September 28, 2020 meeting.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Next up, we have public comment. Is anybody here for 5 minutes of public comment? Okay, next we have business and discussion items. First up, we have Marshall County Partnership for Growth with Alan Barber.
Good evening, it's good to see
Hello.
you all here and healthy. I just wanted to update you a little bit about what's been happening. Marshall County Partnership for Growth just won an Evergy grant for $15,000. It will be applied to the revolving loan that the county gave us for $25,000. And that will mean that we have $40,000 available to Marysville residents for a 0% loan for the first year. After that, it's a 5% loan. Hopefully they can pay it off in the first year, have $1,000 or up to $5,000 to use if their business was struggling during COVID or at any time. If they'd like the money to use for anything business-wise, that's what this grant will be about. So we're excited to be able to offer that and to be able to offer it at $40,000 now. We are also working on a possible economic impact study. This would be for the Marysville Business Park, the property that Marshall County owns right now, the partnership owns. We're requesting Evergy as well as the Tech Development Institute with K-State to partner with us so that we can go ahead and do this economic study. That way when we come to the county and say, we'd like for you to consider this as a jail site, we'll have a lot of information, we'll have a lot of statistics and facts to help them make that decision. So we're hopeful that we'll win those grants, but those have been applied for. We were also able to help and identify 5 Marysville businesses to prepare for the CDBG grant that Marysville and the county won. I know that I spent a lot of time helping those 5 businesses. I think I was able to save our city administrator a lot of time with answering questions and getting those moving. Unfortunately, a lot of grants are in the hands of the North Central Regional Planning Commission right now, and so it's taking a long time to get those grants through the process. So we can't tell them when they'll get their money, but hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. The next item is that Partnership for Growth is administering the next grant that's come out. That's called a SPARK grant. It's been awarded to the county, and the good thing about it is there's no moderate to low income type of eligibility. So just about anybody, any business can apply for this as long as you're not in farming. It's easy eligibility. So I have put it out on the radio, I put it out on Facebook, I've done email blasts just to let everybody know that it's available. However, I'm afraid that, Marysville might not get the news out that this is available for them as well as it could be. So I'm wondering, is there a way that we could put it either on the city website or on the city Facebook? I can provide the Facebook share type of information, so that'd be easy. But Marysville's our largest town, so I'd like to see Marysville get the most money and be able to use that. It's only open to the end of October, so we only have a couple of weeks left to apply for this. And like I said, if you have just about any loss, you can get in on this grant most likely. So it's really worth looking at. It's up on our website right now, and it's easy to apply for. It basically works the same way this last grant worked, where you need to show that you've had a loss, put your bill together with your invoice and your receipt together, and then you get a reimbursement. So is there any comment about how we could get this out to Marysville and let them know?
You gotta share it with us. You could have just sent it to us and we could have got it out there.
Do I send it to Cindy?
Facebook,
City's Facebook.
through the Facebook page. Through your Facebook, you can share it with us?
Well, a lot of times if I look on my page, I've got to have them give me permission to share it. So I'll check with Cindy and see, because I'd love to do that. I don't know if you want it. Do you want it on your city website?
We could pull it from the Facebook page.
Right.
Okay, great. Okay, this last opportunity, I've not been had a chance to get it to Mayor Barnes yet, but I just got it recently, just yesterday and today. There's a brand new opportunity. I happened to be at the right place at the right time. I met a man from Kansas City. He's with the Children's Museum. It's a mobile museum. I said, oh, sure, we'd love to have it come to Marysville sometime. Well, it turns out that they were given money from the Children's Cabinet and Trust Fund, and they're going to do like a pilot, and 10 cities will get like a $25,000 grant to put in kind of like a discovery type of area for children. And so they asked if I had a suggestion for Marshall County. And I said, yes, I would like to see that go into Marysville. That's our most populous city. It would have a lot of different neat sites. We could put something like that. I said, is this a match? And they said, no, this is totally free. The only thing that you would really have to do is partner with us and help plan it, because we get to choose the site, and then we get to choose what type of activity it would be. So basically, to help you understand a little bit about it, the Discovery Center has 95,000 annual visitors a year, and they've secured a funding for a pilot project to turn 10 public sidewalks or alleys or areas into educational play spaces using outdoor vinyl. We are in the design and site selection process and will evaluate these efforts as a foundation for then a larger scale project. So we get to be the pilot if you're interested. So basically they have models. They've turned alleys into obstacle courses, benches into puzzles, sidewalks into stories, and different area zones into games. They work on physical activity. You can do one for balance for the kids, problem solving, or art. And so basically, the following principles, this is what we would do. Communities must be involved in planning their own discovery play spaces. Spaces must be designed by educators to promote open-ended, evidence-based educational play. Spaces must be low physical risk, low vandalism risk, low maintenance. They should be dual use, where families already gather but where play is not otherwise promoted. So, like if it's on our downtown area where we might be having a barbecue, that's not necessarily where kids play, but we could put something in there for them to do it. Or the depot. That's not necessarily as a museum where kids would play, but that's the type of place that would want to put something. And then the spaces should use the Discovery Center brand logo to inspire confidence and promote the museum. So it has a project timeline. January to April would be site research and selection, community engagement. material testing and planning. Then April to August would be installation and construction. September would be dedication and publicity, community opening event. And then the fourth thing, September to December, we would evaluate it, see how much it's used, gather feedback and report. So basically, they would take care of the whole, anything financial, and then we're a big part of the planning and making this happen in Marysville to make it something that we're all really excited about. So all I really need from you tonight is probably they're going to want to see something in the minutes that say that the council is positive toward moving toward pursuing this, something like that, so that I can take this back to them and say, you know, the city council would like to see if we can partner with you, if you're in agreement.
Long-term upkeep, is it a forever thing? Is it forever, or, I mean, is it a park that stays, or is it just like a display for this year?
Well, some of these pictures that I have show it's more permanent.
That's what I think.
Can you pass those around by chance?
Sure, I just wasn't sure if you wanted me to, but,
I'm not sure how to visualize it.
right, and that's why I asked them for something more. Now put the timeline underneath this. But like they said, low vandalism, low maintenance, something that kids can easily get on and do and enjoy.
Do we have to decide tonight, or can we wait, can we think about it and let you know next time, at our next meeting?
Let's see, what is October, November, December? They're starting in January. So I just think the sooner we decide, the better. And if you need more information, you know, I can pass these around too. I asked them to give me something that you guys could actually see, because before it was just proposed to me. But I'm afraid with that timeline, they're trying to find people who want to be in that pilot program and get started.
Hey, Ellen, for future reference, if we could have this in advance of this meeting, so we can put it in the packet,
I agree.
that way we could have talked about this.
Right, and like I said, I just found this out yesterday, and so today she got me that. So that's why, I'm sorry I couldn't.
It sounds great, I just don't want to jump into anything,
Yeah,
without looking at it a little.
absolutely.
So can you send this all to us?
I'd be happy.
Or send it to Austin, he can send it to us?
Uh-huh. And I guess even if you wanted to, I don't know if you ever do this, but if you wanted to do it online, yes or no too. and just-
Yeah, we can't, we'd have to have a special meeting, or, yeah.
Forget that.
I think the idea is really good. It's just going to add to our community. I actually, in a certain part of downtown Omaha, they did this, something similar, not this, but something similar, that really was nice, because they turned that into such a thriving area, and they didn't have anything for kids down there. So they had something real close to this. So yeah, I think it would enhance what we have already.
Yeah.
I can think of some good locations possibly for things, and I think we've got good options.
Oh, yeah.
Almost need a committee or something to kind of,
And was this more kind of a park thing?
Yeah.
I will be having one of those.
Technically, yeah, I suppose. Or would be, end up being.
I'm sure we'll end up with one if we need educators involved, and you might want chamber and convention involved with different groups.
It'd be nice to be on the cutting edge too, be the trial balloon, and have something a lot of communities don't have this size.
Right. And that's what I thanked him for. I said, I realize a lot of these things are in the city, but thank you for moving out into the rural, because that's so key to our kids. They don't always get that.
And we have our functions, and this is just thrown, obviously we'll have discussions on this, but, we really haven't done anything with the rail bed. We can we already have the depot going down there, and then we could add this to a certain part of the rail bed, and then we have functions going with the depot, then the kids could have this.
Well, and I wondered about the section between Walnut and Elm Street along the trail there. That's also
Absolutely.
Yeah,
undeveloped,
Very much.
unutilized. It's between the park and downtown. That was like my first, hey, I'm gonna start tying
good
that
idea.
all
There's even
together.
concrete on the one
By the
side.
swimming,
Yeah.
by the
Already.
swimming pool.
that'd be a good idea.
And a lot of lights.
Yeah.
Lights.
It wouldn't be somewhere subject to vandalism because of its openness and light and.
And like I said, if we want to just move to pursue it or look further into it, something that's non-binding,
If we
that's
want
fine
to,
with me.
if we say, yeah, let's go for it, we aren't committing any funds or
Right,
anything.
right, it's all free, and then I would suppose until we get something to sign, we could always back out.
Sure. Do we need a motion to ask for her to pursue this for the city? I'd move that we pursue this with, keep checking into it, do the legwork, and then come back to us before we need to sign on any dotted lines. I think it'd be great. So that's my motion.
I second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No.
All right, thank you all, and I will send this to you later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay, next up, we have Resolution 2020-08, streetlight.
Move to approve Resolution 2020-08, streetlight.
Second.
Any further discussion? We need a roll call on this one, or?
It's a resolution.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, we have the black squirrel tissue sample request.
I think there's enough squirrels that get hit, he can get it off of
I
that
would
squirrel.
think so, yeah.
I don't think he needs to be trying to trap a live one, so.
I think it'd be tricky to get it to hold still enough to safely get a sample from its ear unless he's gonna knock the thing out. Anyway,
I move he can go ahead and get it from a dead one.
okay.
Probably doesn't take a motion. I would just say consensus
okay.
of council.
Email him back.
Okay, next up, is the sport and rec proposal.
Parks and Rec, one. Just,
Yeah, I mean, we had a meeting and kind of discussed a proposal, and the committee recommended a few changes that they had in mind, and sent that back to the
Could you
entity.
talk up just a little louder?
Yeah, the committee discussed the proposal and had some changes and some concerns about a couple of issues with it, and sent those changes back to the entity to,
Yeah, and they'll come back and have a meeting.
we're gonna have another meeting and kind of sort out some more of the issues and kind of go from there.
It's looking positive.
Yeah, so far,
there's a proposal.
yeah,
A proposal's better than no proposal.
yes.
Depends on how you look at it.
But that's pretty much it. Next up, we have the JAG grant for the police.
No,
Todd?
the Spark request.
Or Spark request.
Evening.
Hello.
Is the Spark grant first?
Spark.
Yeah.
Spark grant is the same grant that y'all got for the city hall here for all the new electronics and stuff. We're doing the same thing over in our training room, just on a lot smaller scale. Ours is only $7,471. Did county deliver the check yet?
Yes. We have them,
We
we
got it
have
on
we have the
Friday.
money in hand for this.
Okay, the money's already in hand, we just need the approval to order the equipment from you guys before we order it. It's a 100% grant.
Move to approve the Spark request for the Marysville Police Department.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, next up is JAG grant.
Next thing's a JAG grant. We applied for new body cams. Our body cams, we have a few of them that are failing now. And this year I applied back in July. We were awarded the grant we put in for $40,325. We were awarded $38,661, which is a difference of $1,664, which we'll just pay it out of special law. We can try to, from what I understand, apply for any monies left over. We'll try for that to pick up that extra 16. If not, we do have the funds to cover it otherwise. So that's for all new body cams. They're an upgrade and a new camera server. We have 2 servers in our office. One runs all the computer systems and one runs just the camera system. This also replaces the camera system. Server.
I see the servers, new server's gonna have a 5-year warranty on it, so.
Yes. The cameras we could only purchase up to 3 years on them, but
On
the
the
server
cameras?
has 5.
Okay.
And that's all the licensures and everything. Because now with the new cameras, used to, our server now, we store all of our audio and videos from the cars. The new systems, mandatory, you have to do it through the cloud and pay a service fee every year. So I went ahead and added in 3 years was all they let me pay for in advance on the grant as well they paid for it.
Move to approve the JAG grant for new body cameras and server.
Second.
No. Go ahead.
Any second?
And then moved and seconded.
Yep,
All right.
yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I would ask one thing, our older cameras, see, the county applied for the same grant for everything, they were denied. And I was talking to the sheriff today, and he asked what we're gonna do with our older cameras, the ones that are still running, not all of them are running, because they've lost a bunch of them. See, the models that we both have, they won't service anymore.
Yeah.
I'd like to declare those surplus and work out some type of deal with the county to either purchase them and the server, that they can use it for whatever the life is left in them, until they can reapply next year and hopefully get more cameras themselves. I'll work with Austin on some type of deal with them on it, so we come out, we'll probably hit on it, so.
Give them a car too that they gave us.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'd like to do is I need to have them declared surplus before we can do anything with them.
Okay.
The cameras and the server.
Okay.
That does it.
Can we do that now?
Yeah, need a motion.
Okay.
Move to declare the current body cameras,
11 of
11 of
them,
them,
I think it's 11.
surplus, and the current server surplus.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks, that'll really help out the other agency, and then we can both.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure we're both recorded that way. If any more, we gotta have it.
Yep.
The last thing on there, next thing we have on there, we're just trying to move some titles. This isn't a monetary gain or anything. It just makes Matt officially my assistant chief instead of sergeant, and the corporal's up to sergeants. Years ago, we had 2 sergeants, and there's already job descriptions for them. We just need to formally do it instead of, like all his business cards and everything, say assistant chief on it anyway. I just like to formally do it for our CALIA standard. We have to have it set by job description and by vote of you guys before we can do it. Like I say, there's no monetary gain. We're not upping anybody's pay or anything. We're just changing titles is all we're doing.
Move to
Got a motion?
approve the chief's request.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One thing I have for the police committee, here by November 1st, you'll receive the first edition of the new policies and guidelines from CALIA, that by city ordinance, you have to approve them before we can put them in effect January 1. And I will tell you, it's probably going to be about this thick. That's why we're going to give you a month to read them beforehand.
All right.
But then we'll come back after I disseminate those to the police committee, then we'll be back probably in December to make it good for January. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
Next up, we have the tennis court agreement with USD 364. Hello?
Hi, thank you. You've got our letter and pictures in your packet. Thank you for letting us be here this evening. Obviously, I'm Pam Dankevering, live here in town. I have the privilege to stand before you this evening representing the patrons of USD 364, including those within the confines of Marysville proper, as president of your Board of Education. With me this evening is Michael Couch, our new superintendent. Having watched the recording of the September 14th meeting in which the tennis court agreement was discussed, I felt the need to come this evening to discuss a few inaccuracies and point out some pieces of information that might be helpful to the conversation. In 2014, we entered into our very first 6-year agreement with the city for the rental payment for use of the courts for our school district activities and practice. Upon receiving the new agreement this year, number 13 was the item added, negating our use of the historic Beatty Depot for storage, a space we've used for the last 15 or 16 years. In visiting with Mr. St. John, it appeared that the concern of city workers was centered around abuse. In visiting with Mr. St. John, in that conversation, I asked if the concern was centered around physical abuse or storage intent abuse, and he stated both. In asking if the angst surrounding these issues was ever brought to a school administrator or to our tennis court coach, he said no, they had not been. It's really pretty hard for us to correct issues we're not aware of. I'm still uncertain of the physical abuse, but within 2 days, we had removed the items causing consternation from the storage area that were labeled as storage issues. As stated in my letter, student safety is our driving force behind the request. Yes, we do have room in some of our other buildings. But you have to understand our hesitation in having students carry items across the roadways at that time of day. We're talking about baskets with 30 and 40 tennis balls in them. Accidents happen. So to address other questions, our policy would cover, during that particular council meeting a few weeks ago, there was the question of if our items were stolen, our policy does cover our own items. As you can see from the picture, our items in that space are very organized, and this space is clean. The other items in that space do not belong to us. We do not feel we are taking advantage of the city, as it appears the city has no alternate plans for this space, given the north 2/3 of the building are being used as city storage as well. Coach Wassam and her team cleans the space twice a year before each season starts, and even offered to paint the building before Leadership Marshall County's Adventurers class stepped in to complete that project in 2016. And it looks lovely. So we are requesting that item 13 on the lease agreement read, "City shall agree to allow USD 364 use of the historic Beatty Depot for the storage of equipment related to USD 364 junior-senior high tennis programs only. No other equipment or items will be allowed. Access to the storage space is limited to district administrators, the tennis coach, and players during practice and competition times. The tennis coach is responsible for maintaining correct storage, and the district administration will guarantee compliance of this agreement as well. The rental fee paid to the city includes year-round storage of equipment related to the program." As this point states, we have monitoring protocols in place and have addressed any concerns regarding access. As a Board of Education and as administrators, our first priority has been and will always be the physical and mental well-being and safety of our children. The safety of the community's children is on the line with your discussion, and so I would respectfully ask that you adopt this rendition of item 13 to be placed into the agreement you approved on September 14th. Mr. Couch and I stand for questions.
I wasn't here for that meeting to hear the ins and outs of the discussion. How long has it been a concern as far as the storage of non-appropriate items there? Has this been an ongoing thing and I just wasn't aware of it? That's my question, I guess.
A few weeks ago was the first that I became aware of it. A few weeks ago was the first time that I became aware of it.
And I can address what those inappropriate items were, which in my personal opinion is a slight gray area. Coach Wassam hosts a children's tennis camp in the summertime, because to build a successful, state competitive high school team, you start young. She had items stored in there from her summer tennis camp. It wasn't like she had a couch or a recliner or a coffee pot or anything like
So
that.
they were tennis connected,
They were the small
school's
net. They
property.
were the small nets that the little children use for tennis camp. So that's, which, I mean, you know, that's gray as to whether that's inappropriate or not. So, but it wasn't personal items.
One of the recent issues was items migrating into areas where they weren't supposed to be. In fact, one of our employees had to actually fashion or move the items back to where they were supposed to be and close off that area that was being utilized, fixing the issue.
So they put that wall up between the really nice area of the depot and our not so nice area of the depot?
To where they were supposed to be storing stuff.
So I've never been in this building. I assume it's basically the school has the freight room.
Yes.
Is that correct?
It's south room on it, yeah.
So this is for the freight side.
Yeah. There's nothing
I've
special
been in a
there.
lot of depots, just not this one, so I know how they're situated.
Yeah.
What about if we sell the building to the school?
It'd be like selling them tennis courts. They won't buy them.
Yeah.
I
down
didn't know,
that
you didn't
road.
ask.
You can section off the corner of the park.
But if they're paying rent on it, they just will rent to buy.
I mean, we have the stoplights and everything, we have the lights so the kids can easily go across the street. The football boys carry their equipment across, and we don't,
No, they
they
don't.
don't have a problem, do they?
Not this year, they
They're not carrying anything across.
Well, I realize that, but they have in the past. I
A
mean,
football or two. It's not like those baskets of tennis balls.
And it's probably
These little baskets that's shown here in the top,
We also use that for quite a few classes throughout the day too. Those balls go back and forth, would go back and forth at least once.
these cards here that you see in the top left picture there, the wheels on them, they push them across, they get caught on rocks and stuff coming across the highway and pieces of gravel, you know. Them balls fall, they'll roll underneath cars and then trying to get,
well,
dig them out between cars and under cars and stuff. It's nothing but gonna be a safety hazard there.
So was this basically over because the city employees felt that they were just putting them wherever they wanted, they weren't putting them away?
In some cases, yes.
I mean, they got shelves in there. I mean, when I was there, it was a nice, clean area.
I'm not sure we ever were told there was a problem.
Yeah.
And that's part of my concern is the communication.
And I
side.
don't know what kind of communication there was between Dale and the coach. They do frequently communicate. She texts him often, and they discuss that, whatever needs to be done between them.
Yeah. And for future reference, in this and all things, written communication is king.
But Coach Wassum said that this was never brought up because she was as surprised as we were about it being considered abuse of the space.
Yeah, I think a chance to for corrective action on something that's not egregious makes sense. I mean, it's not like they were selling something out of it or something really against the...
Well, the tennis camp she makes profit on.
Yeah, but but
that stuff's been removed from here.
Right, no,
Yeah.
now it is,
Yeah.
correct.
And,
Correct.
but that's a little...
Within 2 days of us realizing that that was the angst, it was gone. We have to know.
So she doesn't, just to clarify, she doesn't use any of these tennis balls or any of this school stuff for her personal
No.
camp?
She's got all that stuff for herself.
That was just a curiosity. But you guys continue discussing. But
Well, I know that part of the conversation, and it's possible that I just wasn't clear enough when I visited with Mr. St. John. Our option, if you choose not to allow us, is for the taxpayers to basically double pay to put a little storage shed underneath our portico over at the district office. Because that street, as busy as it is at that time of day, is the lesser of two evils. But our taxpayers are paying twice then. They're paying for the upkeep of a building that won't be being used, and the creation of a second building for our stuff in across the street, which doesn't seem to make sense to me on a taxpayer basis. We're talking about the very same people. Our people are your people are our people, for the most part. I realize we have a little bit bigger tax base than you all do, but not by a lot.
Well, I think a lot of this was communication and non-communication in some ways. Is this the first thing that's really happened cause any angst at all No, it isn't.
I think what spurred it was, the agreement's up, let's solve something that might have not been a very egregious thing, but just has caused some employees heartburn. I mean, it's, some people don't have the ability, and I mean, to go confront a problem, they just work through it. And I'm not gonna blame an employee for that. I mean, it was just brought up, this would make my life much more easier if this happened.
Well, employee preferences aside, how you work through a problem is by telling the other side of the problem there is a problem.
And that is
Yeah,
a
that's not true.
communication mistake.
What's that?
That's not true.
You don't think that's a
No,
way
I
to solve
think
a
in this
problem?
situation, that employee, the way he's gonna handle this is maybe they've had numerous conversation, he's tired of having the conversation, and it's easier for us to pay him 20 minutes out of his day to reorganize it and make it easier for him.
Well, but it's up to us to make the decision whether that's the way to do it or
And
not.
what
If it's not brought to us, then we don't know. If it's brought to them, then they don't
And-
know. So communication.
And we're back down to, maybe he's told somebody numerous times, and he's done telling.
Well, but maybe
He's
he's
just
never
taking
done
care
it.
of
We
it.
don't know because we weren't told. Again, communication.
Maybe not us, but maybe he told the coach, maybe he didn't tell the coach, we don't know that. There's
Well,
no
it's
black and white that
Well,
says he did, no
Yeah,
black
but
and white says he
proving a
didn't.
negative is awful hard.
Yeah, and that's my point.
Well, I know.
I live this where problems are created, and I just deal with them instead of complaining, because it does no
Well,
good.
no, see, but there's complaining and there's working for a solution.
What's in that space that the city uses often enough? for
That's what I was gonna ask.
employees to be in there? If you look at those
What do we
pictures,
It's in the
store
other
in
side of
there?
the depot.
What do we actually store
Well,
in there?
these boards, as you can see on the side, they say Marysville Arts Cooperative. I could zoom in. Those aren't our boards. So somebody stored them in there. We don't know who, and we talked to the arts people, and they said, get rid of them. So
might have-
that's why Purple Wave
I
is
wonder if they were
stuck
put in
on them.
there when
The art,
the building came down. There was a lot of stuff in the back room of the
Simmons.
Simmons.
Simmons, thank you, Simmons Auditorium.
That could be.
I know stuff got
somebody
shuffled
else
back
thought they
there.
probably happened during the Marysville Mother's Day Market when they
That's
used to
true,
have
too.
the art thing all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So the art people
Sure.
from the school used that to display the art from the kids.
no, we've never used those. We have our own legs and we get all of our plywood.
And maybe now, but I mean, I don't know how long they've been in here.
Coach Wassam said those have been in there for years, and at the beginning of every season, she gets a hold of the arts group and says, hey, don't forget your boards are in here.
So,
Gonna get rid of
the Purple Wave is very recent, and that, we're getting rid of those. So,
Okay.
since nobody wants to claim them. Or,
So-
yeah.
So do we have a pressing demand for the space?
No, I mean, I think originally when
like
that
the
building
sod
was
house.
put down there, it was gonna be a little bit of a kind of a museum, and for a while, it kind of was.
It
and
was
then-
a
open, and it
museum.
had-
And then it became just empty, and now basically it's a storage building that accentuates the train.
It
Is
was a
basically all it
museum at
is.
one time because there was
It's-
a lot
doesn't
of
really
stuff
have a
in there at
use,
one
and-
time, yes.
Yeah, because you can't go in it now, there's no,
So unless
Not
we
being
have
used
plans
for
to
anything.
store something there or use it for public use, if it serves a valid use for them, and tennis equipment's not doing any long-term damage, and it's not a fire hazard, and, I mean, there doesn't seem to be a pressing demand to do anything else with it. This seems like a perfectly appropriate use
Well, I
to
know
me.
Mr. Couch said if we need, they could possibly put some different shelving unit in there if that would accompany something too.
Right, yeah, if it's an organizational issue,
Yeah.
I mean, and that can be remedied, and I think the coach and everybody's well aware of what we'd like to not see in there now. I'd like to, give them a chance to move forward with it, and then, okay, in 2 years, if it's gone off the rails, readdress. But now we all know what the problem is, we've talked about it.
so what does council want to do? Does somebody want to make a motion?
Move let school USD 364 use the space on the south end of the depot for storage of tennis facilities only.
South end of Depot.
Do you want to make that motion just to basically include this paragraph as stated into the tennis agreement?
Yeah.
That the agreement itself was agreed upon, as I remember, by the council already. It was just that paragraph. Maybe we could
Change
just
paragraph 13.
change paragraph 13 to that.
Item 13.
to item 13.
What is the length of the agreement that we've already agreed upon?
2 years, and
Okay.
are you still requesting the 1 year? I can't remember.
I'm sorry.
Was the 1 year, I'm looking back through this, was 1 year in here for just the storage area, or did you just want to incorporate it?
I want to put the number 13 in my letter in place of all other number 13s that have been talked about. I would like year-round storage for that space to be the life of the 2-year agreement.
2 years.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, I'm gonna ask one more question. When the contract was up, why didn't you guys show up to the meeting? Why didn't somebody?
That meeting, let's see, that agreement was, let me get my sheet here. That agreement was signed in 2014, July of 2014. Superintendent Bill Mullins told the council that the school district would like to negotiate a reasonable fee for the use of the courts through a 10-year joint use agreement that evidently came to a 6-year. I guess that's on us. If you look at our administrative staff, our superintendent, and most all of the individuals in our district office, they're either all brand-new people or they have different jobs.
I'm not too sure we were even told it was us.
Well, no, that's
Yeah, we
what
sent
what
the
he's saying
contracts.
is we should have noticed.
All your contracts are up,
We're,
because there's some of them that haven't even been done yet.
like,
The ball field one and the gym
Ball
one
we
hasn't
we
been
have a
done.
ball field agreement with Marysville Sport and Rec.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do.
Well,
No, you don't.
currently, but not after the first of the year.
Right, right, right. But we're
Okay,
kind
they
of
have an
waiting.
agreement to take care of the ball field with Marysville Sport and Rec. They do not have an agreement for the ball fields. They have an agreement for the ball fields with the city of Marysville, and we flip-flop gym usage.
That's true.
That's the contract you have.
We own the ball fields, they do
Right.
not.
Yes, that's my point. My
So we
point
had a
is,
contract with you for the ball fields themselves, and then we have one
I
with
think
Marysville
it's
Sport and Rec
expired.
too?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, well, we
Well,
just had a lot of changeover. We've
I
had a
know,
lot
but-
of changeover, and I guess it's on us that some of these things slip through the cracks.
I did communicate with Austin quite a bit.
okay.
Okay,
So apologies for that, Parker.
okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
You want to read that motion again so we know what we're at?
It was
Sure,
to replace
sure, Diane.
paragraph, what, 13
Yes,
with,
they would like to flip out, the
Right.
USD
Number
364 would like to flip out paragraph 13 to be as the school wrote. Do you want me to read what they wrote?
I think I know what.
In the
okay,
letter.
I mean,
Okay, in the letter,
And then approve.
the length of the agreement for 2 years, and approve the entire agreement for 2 years.
all right, any further discussion?
And we will get those display racks out of there.
Yeah, they're, that sale, the Purple Wave sales in, the beginning of November, yes.
Okay.
Does anybody else have stuff in there?
Somebody has a sign that says singles.
Do you know who state qualifier singles sign that is?
That's tennis's.
Right, and that's part of the program.
Okay.
You know, it's a community
Along with the big rack.
Well, yeah,
over
yeah.
there.
excitement, or, you know,
I think, well, there was
morale.
a confusion question just, that was passed around.
Those balls get hung
Yeah.
on the handrail
Yep,
on this side of the activity center.
yep,
And then the
Not-
rackets
yeah.
get put in the yard
yep, that's,
when we go to state.
thank you for clearing that up.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Thank you. And
Thank
we'll
you.
look into those other pieces, Parker. I didn't realize we had 2 agreements. Thanks.
And we'll get the contract over to you after we get a signature on it.
Okay. Oh, and next up, we've got Chamber and Main Street. Hello?
A couple weeks ago, some members of the chamber, my name is Tyson Anderson, by the way, we had a meeting with Austin and the mayor, and what we were wanting to accomplish is we have an annual contract that comes up to staff the visitor center, and we're I don't know if you guys they weren't sure if you guys would want to form a committee or what, but what our intentions are is to have Kate, our executive director, work in the mornings in that office, then be out and about visiting local businesses, providing value that way. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense to have somebody sitting in there full time. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to pursue like a kiosk or a QR code on that rare instance if somebody does stop in during those business hours, it's that they can take a picture with their phone, answer any questions there, or have a running kiosk. So I was just asking if we could maybe form a committee or how you guys would want to pursue that, trying to be proactive in our approach to that contract so it doesn't come up to January and we get in I don't want to have to answer Parker's questions of why we're here in the contract.
So the kiosk be at that location, is that the idea?
Yeah, or a QR code on the window or
I've
something.
seen enough different ones that, I think it would definitely take some planning to do it right, especially given the location, but.
I mean, the location's a killer where it's at. We just need to come up with, I don't know if we need to build an enclosure or something over the, kind of the back northwest corner of it there where you could put a kind of a kiosk or something in there that could be out all weather or something like that. I don't know.
Parking?
Yeah, that's what.
But isn't parking an issue if you do that?
It'd only take up.
It's a pretty undefined space.
I know, I just
Yeah,
wondered
I
if a
know.
kiosk somewhere else would be better.
For Pete's sake, yeah.
But I mean, you're
Yeah,
not
we're
talking
open to
a
all
huge
that.
area.
I mean, our main focus is to try to support our businesses. You know, Elaine was bringing it up to put these grants on the city's website, and I'm thinking, well, why hasn't she visited with Kate? That's a discussion I wrote down that we'll have. So, but our goal is to have Kate up and down Main Street and helping area businesses, so. And she can't do that just sitting in there waiting on the two
People
people
come
a
in.
month that come in.
Yeah. Understandable.
How many visitors would you say actually come to the center?
Well, it's been, with the turnover that we've had in directors and Kate coming in the middle of COVID, we can't accurately answer that. I don't want to speculate.
I think a kiosk would be really good for those weekend hours and times as well. I mean, to me, that's a real big benefit. You'd be amazed, I mean, I walk by there, depends, maybe a couple times a day. You'd be surprised how many people pull up there on a Saturday or a Sunday and pull on the door or whatever, and to have that all really available when we can't have somebody there would be really nice.
Yeah, we'd like to have one of those QR deals that take a picture with your phone with it too, to pull up our Facebook site and other things as well. So,
a nice big map.
Yep.
And you can't staff it with volunteers in the afternoons or?
We try our best with the RSVP, but it's getting tougher and tougher.
Oh, really?
So I don't know what department does that fall under the rubric of, admin and finance?
Probably.
So I guess I would just ask to cancel, but if you guys do want to form a committee, just get with myself or get in touch with Kate, and she can schedule meetings that works on your guys' behalf, and we'll make it work for us.
In the community, called a community exchange program or whatever, where people visited different communities, they did, was that a year ago, 2 years ago?
Probably
I
3.
think the kiosk thing was something that came up under that.
Yes,
So
definitely.
that would be definitely something, I don't know if you're involved in that at all, but something to reference in this planning process.
I was on the board on that. It was
Okay.
Lynchburg that we.
Lynchburg.
We went to Lynchburg, yep.
Town that painted everything.
Yep.
I was in the park 2 weeks ago Sunday, and there's some people down there looking at the squirrel and reading the stuff around the band center. They asked how many of those we have in town, and I told them, but, there's no map or anything, that's something we
Yeah, there
need
are.
to, huh?
Yeah, there are.
There are.
Not down in the park.
Not down in the park.
Yeah.
Not in the park.
But
They're
that's
everywhere
something
else.
that
That's
maybe
something
could be
people-
developed,
Yeah, on a
squirrel.
Yeah, you could probably have a
on a
QRS
QRS code
yeah.
or something, so people can, I was trying to explain to her where all of them were, but when they're not from here, it makes it
We'll go to so-and-so's house.
Yeah.
Are they out on
Yeah,
the,
whatever building.
Yeah, well, they're at all the motels, and they're
Motel
at
stations.
CJ's West and CJ's East,
Have a bunch of maps.
and all of those well, they're there too if they're open, but they're in all the businesses.
And it's online. Actually caught somebody.
Is it online?
Outside, yeah, there's
I
a map
didn't realize
online.
it was online.
I grabbed a map because there's an RV pulled up, taking a picture of this squirrel, and I gave them a map, and they go, "Oh, thanks, this will be great," but I'm already following it online. It's like,
So it's already there.
yeah.
They just know where to look.
We need to get all of our technology hooked up.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I think we should somehow know whoever is on that committee, some ad hoc committee or whatever, should probably start working on this with them sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I think so too.
Kick it to committee.
So Austin, we'll just have you get in touch with Kate then?
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you for your guys'
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Okay, nothing under notices and hearings. Next up, we have the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Yep.
Okay, next up, we have appropriations ordinance number 3733.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3733 for amount $122,254.88.
Second.
It's a lot cheaper this month than it was last.
And there were a lot of vouchers.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Pipia,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Schroller,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Thrum,
Yes.
8-0.
Okay. Next up, staff reports.
Right. First thing on my list, as highly anticipated, I assume, water tower antennas. I included the quote from Municipal Supply, who has, also supplies our water meters. They included the makeup of 2 towers, one for each of our water towers, to come to a total of $17,152.96. And they stressed this was not, this does not include installation, so I've been trying to find somebody to do the install. How Communications is one place I'm looking at, but I also thought of Blue Valley, because they are gonna be the ones supplying the internet for these locations as well, and they have to be up there anyways. So I'm working with those to get that going, and like I said in my report, that if it is higher than my allowance, I'll bring it back to council, but as I remember, the stress was to get this going, so I wanted to get the towers
Will
ordered.
this cover the whole town?
Yes.
Because I know at one time you said we were gonna have to put maybe a
And
third tower
I did
up
ask,
here on May and 9th or 8th.
I did ask them to clarify on that, and he said, if you look at the numbers they provided, that would only allow us to get 1 or 2 more meters in the future. And he said it wasn't worth our money right now. So this would cover the whole town.
Okay.
So where's the second water tower?
What?
Behind the motel.
East side. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm sitting there thinking.
Prairie Lane.
Prairie Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this gotta read all those out there at
Well, that's
Ashbury and all
Yeah.
that too, so I
Yes.
mean,
Now, are we gonna, I think one time they said something about hooking one up and then having the other one send a signal to the other.
That's how you're gonna get the internet over to that
Okay.
Prairie Lane one, is Blue Valley is going to basically wirelessly connect. And they said you could get a really good signal, like a gigabit direct signal from this tower to that tower. So it's, they've done it, they said all the time, and that was their solution for getting internet to that one, rather than running an expensive drop to that location.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep, Terry.
To get those hooked up and everything, once it's all working, are we gonna get guys for a monthly fee?
No, the antennas are for just supplying the information. It's just like we have equipment right now to go read meters. We pay that one-time fee for the equipment, and then we use it. It's ours.
Well, when you're talking about hooking up with the internet to be shooting
It depends on how they write that. Right now, so for instance, and I'm not gonna hold anything to Blue Valley, Right now, they've allowed us City Hall, fire station, police station, free internet. They provide free internet to our locations. Again, not going to vouch for that.
I know somebody.
But that, I mean, that, they have been, Blue Valley has been great to us. I mean, that's what it is.
So when we get hooked on this and it's all working good, then all of a sudden the price goes up there
Right.
for running it.
And actually, this setup will help reduce our man hours. Once we get the complete, right now, we only have partial city covered in the water meters that this will take. And once we get that full cycle of water meters in there, we are reducing the man hours to go out and check meters. We can check them right in the office right there unless there's a problem with that individual meter. So we are saving money and labor.
The thing I like about this system is if somebody's got a problem in a business or house or something, flags it right away here in
Yes.
City Hall.
Yeah, 'cause
you don't have to wait for your 30 days for them to go out and read the meters.
We can
boom,
set
it's
it
there.
up to, I think, every 15 seconds we get information. So if somebody does call up and go, hey, why is my water bill so high? Do I have a leak or something like that? Or I'm not paying this because I didn't use it. You can go on your computer and go, hey, I see at 2 in the morning. The water rate goes up that high and then stops at 4. Do you have a water softener that runs at night? That's the sort of information that we'll be able to get with this tower.
Would you be able to have found out about Walmart?
That one, we found out through a completely different system that we have set up right now that shows, it wouldn't, that stuff was not going through Walmart's meter, it was going through our towers. We saw that our wells were pumping harder. So there is a chance if we can get that wireless signal to pick up out at our wells or but right now we have a SCADA system showing us that information. So we found it relatively quickly as far as leak goes.
I was just wondering if that was going to be able to find, if it would have detected. Yeah, okay.
It might help us down the road with trying to find some of our water loss.
Yes.
Move to approve water tower antennas. I think it's something we need.
Diane?
So who are we paying? So it says here we're paying internet to Blue Valley, so who are we paying internet? What are we paying internet for? On our expenses?
Only City Hall, the fire station and the police station.
That's not internet. That's the box. That's the box that we have in here for, that we're paying for. The internet, when they changed us to fiber, is free. That's a separate charge for something different.
But isn't that the one, like at the water and the cemetery? I think those were charged for, are they not? I think so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
and we also get
only
the
a few
phone.
buildings that they
Yeah.
don't.
Okay.
But
Not all buildings.
not City Hall, not Police Department, not
Right,
fire
not
department.
fire station.
Well, we are paying some internet then,
Yeah,
because it's listed here.
okay. And the phones. Yeah. Blue Valley provides the
And
phones.
when all our
yeah.
phones go through the internet,
Well, yeah.
and the phones, we're paying for that system.
Okay,
Yes,
all right,
that
but it
is
says we're
correct.
paying some internet, so.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, we are.
Second it.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
All right, second one on my list, we have a number of grinder pumps that we maintain which only serve one customer. And I included a list of, and I think we're missing one somewhere, but anyways, that's the list that I got right now that we are servicing that only serve one customer, and which is not very typical. Right now, if you install a new grinder pump, and we have examples in this last year, the person is taking care of that grinder pump. So I'm requesting that we move forward, and as we find the need to replace the pump, we give them a new pump, fix anything else that's wrong with it, and hand it over to that owner with a new system so they can maintain it from then on out.
this sounds like a good idea in general, but I think we need to have these people aware that we're gonna be wanting to do this.
Right, well,
I think we need to have some discussion. We shouldn't drop the bomb on it.
I've talked to the first person on the list, and hasn't said yes yet, but.
And I also wonder if we shouldn't somehow, I don't know, I wanna say prorated or some kind of system. If somebody's had one for longer and somebody's had it for newer, it seems like we need a plan.
If we're gonna wait and to
That's-
hand them
yeah.
over with them all new,
Yeah,
They're all gonna
it wouldn't,
be at
it
the
wouldn't be
same-
like tomorrow, I'd go,
Yeah.
okay, change them all out now. It would be like, okay, we're having issues with, let's say Taco Bell. Switching out Taco Bell and
And they get it.
handing that one over once we give them the new equipment, and then they go there. But further down the list, we probably don't touch that one as often. Probably 10 years down the road, we might get to them.
I just think we should have like a letter go out, or, I mean, we're not in a hurry.
That's fine.
And we should have a letter go out that says, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, this is why. This is kind of what we're proposing, but we're open to discussing this. Please come to a council meeting if you want to, or.
Which
or
one of these
water and
units
sewer.
typically run for somebody?
Yeah,
just-
it's-
I don't know, I can't remember what that one was last year. They're
What
not-
do we just purchased one to replace, to do just, I mean, that needs replacing, the doghouse. Doghouse needs to be replaced.
Okay.
It might be.
Don't know if it's in this.
But I know there's a difference between a commercial one, like
Right.
Taco Bell and the motel, versus
A house.
a house.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yep.
That's what I was
Because
wondering.
isn't a
Can-
house, wasn't that only gonna be like $800 or something out of Dexter's?
Yeah, it was more than that.
Was it?
I mean, what brought this up? I mean, all of a
The
sudden-
fact
The
that
fact
we're
that they're-
pumping them out constantly and,
They're not taking care of someone.
and it doesn't make sense for us to take care of. It'd be one thing if 5 different people were going into this one pump, but it's one customer.
And it's inconsistent because we don't do this now.
Right,
I mean,
Yeah.
I say everybody's grandfathered in, but there's gotta be an end to the grandfather.
Absolutely.
right. So right now, a lot of times we go out and have to pump out Taco Bells, it shuts down. It's a constant thing where we're being pulled away from other things that we should be doing.
Sure.
And helping out one instance.
Because I know the 3 houses that were just recently built on Keystone Lane, I don't think the city paid for any of those grinder pumps in those houses.
No. So this is, and I welcome that idea that we send out a letter and get feedback. We do just, and I'm not pushing anything, but we do have one that really needs to be, addressed, but, and we were prepared to fix it and hope it, but,
Well, you know,
yes.
the imminent need aside, I think taking our time and talking to people is the way to alleviate other problems and
Okay.
engender good feelings. Communication, that's
yeah.
gonna be my theme for
Yeah.
tonight.
Do you want us to come up with a general letter to send out to these and send it out saying that we are looking into this and that we would like your feedback at certain,
Do we want to just send a letter and say we're going to discuss the next
I
council
was gonna say
meeting?
the first one in November or something, that way it gives
Okay.
them a little bit of time to make sure.
for the first meeting
They
in
can write
November?
letters if they want.
We can do that. We can,
And explain to them, like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna do it now, it's
Right.
when it needs to be replaced.
And that the new
So they
places we
don't-
aren't doing
yeah.
it.
And how long are we gonna stretch this out? Let's say somebody doesn't need one for 10 years down the line. Are we gonna drag it out that long?
well,
or-
just like we're doing
I mean,
Well-
it's a viable question.
and it's a good question.
Because, Mrs. Jones may go out tomorrow, but Mrs. Smith it may be 10 years down the line
23.
before
But at the
hers
same
goes
time,
out.
if they're not having any issues with it and it's working fine, then what do we,
We're not out anything.
We're not out anything. We're not.
Right.
The idea would basically mirror our meter pit replacement policy where as things change hands, I mean, it's something similar. We still got those in the
makes sense.
system where a house hasn't changed hands.
Right.
And it's been years and years since that policy's been come up with.
That's consistent, that's
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll put the letter together, send it out as soon as possible, have them provide feedback either in person or writing if they feel that is more comfortable by the first meeting in November.
Just warn them that it's gonna happen, and so they have,
To have knowledge of it.
yeah.
One question about this might involve a little bit of knowing we're right and this is where it should be, and that. Has this been put to, like, our attorney about, we still own the sewer, don't we?
We own the main, yes.
The main.
Yeah.
Gave these folks an agreement when they got their grinder pump, and I don't think it's, maybe we should look into the legal aspect of all of a sudden saying, it's our sewer, but your grinder pump, you're gonna have to fix yourself.
How is it worded in the original
Well, we're
agreement?
gonna
Was
fix it,
just
but then when we replace it, then what, then I'll be liable.
It
why you need to
should
look
be
into
a
that.
firm
I can look at the
attorney.
letter.
All the more reason to take our time, I suppose.
Yep.
You bet.
We'll see if there was an actual agreement out there, if it was just in a meeting or something like that.
And I'm afraid that's probably what it was, but
We gotta start talking about this. Let's get some legal advice about it.
All right. Next one is financials. General fund is still sitting a little above $1 million, and as long as things go like they did last year and the year before that, I'm looking at 700,000 plus ending. So I think that's pretty good, and then we get our disbursement in January, which I'm more than betting that it'll bring us back well over $1 million in January. Both the water and sewer fund had relatively little change. It's mainly due to the purchase of a backhoe, but I mean sales were good, and actually water was up in sales. Sales tax receipts saw a decline compared to last year, but overall, considering all the pool tax and the sales tax combined, we're down about $4,000 compared to last year, so it wasn't terrible. But we saw an increase to the fund by about $50,000 due to low expenditures. Any questions on that? I don't have anything else.
That's it. All right. Standing committees, first up, street.
Up on 16th and North Street, we were visiting the other night and wondering if it'd be nice to put a four-way stop up there maybe. It's kind of confusing when everybody comes together. We have the yield sign, and sometimes you wonder whether who's supposed to.
It's confusing, although I don't know if you had four-way stops there, if it'd make it any less confusing. I mean,
A
it's,
really big roundabout.
it's a weird, yeah.
Come on.
Todd, we talked about this, divergent diamonds.
Diverging diamond intersection would also be great. But in lieu of that, roundabouts are great. It's not my fault. People don't know how to
It's
drive.
very confusing.
It's an odd intersection, yeah.
I've thought about this, and I don't know what the pushback would be, because I think there would be pushback. The most sense that intersection would make, and people could disagree with me, but stop sign on North Street and 16th Street, just because 16th is the odd one, or North Street is the odd one, not 16th.
If you really wanted to engineer it, though, what you'd do is you'd make 16th Street on the south side, either close it off as make it like a court, or you'd make it only a one in or only out. When you look at the way they design those offset intersections in cities, that's usually what they do is the lowest traffic corner gets closed or realigned.
Right.
But I'm not saying to do it. I'm just
yeah,
saying
with
that's what they
Landals
do.
there, ugly.
But
And the hospital.
I just went through that intersection.
Methodists give us part of theirs, we can realign the whole thing.
Yeah.
Good look.
Maybe this is one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Because how many years has it been, seriously, Todd? How many years and how many accidents have we had up there by the park?
Some pretty close
Here
ones.
comes Chief.
Expert in the room.
One way or another. We do have occasionally accidents up there. if you're looking, I don't know if a four-way is it, this thing's been discussed probably 5 or 6 times since I've been chief for 21 years.
Yeah.
If you're ever gonna do anything, I'd go stop sign south and north side and flow North Street through. Because that's usually the main traffic way.
And that's what most people do
Well,
anyway.
I'll be honest, a lot of times I see people almost get hit is coming south on 16th, and you can't quite see around everything there at the park, and they zoom out, next thing you know, you got cars screeching.
Yeah.
That's where I
Get
put
rid
the
of the
2
yield
stop signs,
sign.
take away the yields, put the 2 stops.
Get rid of the yield sign.
Yeah, put stops in.
In all seriousness, if there wasn't a pole on the northwest corner and you could move the street over to align a little better, it would help visibility and things too.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot more money than buying a stop sign. Yeah.
I'm just,
Well, I don't like the yield
It's been
sign at all.
engineered.
No, because yield, heck, we're trying to get people to stop at stop signs. Yields are just not very much to them anymore.
It has been engineered.
It has been engineered.
Yeah.
Plans are laying in here.
I bet it was engineered, they wouldn't have
Really?
laid it down.
Huh?
It's been engineered before?
Yeah. Sure
So
has.
just put a couple
Take out of the
stops
park.
on it?
yield sign.
It was, to me, you got the power to switch the 2 yield signs to stop
yeah.
signs. I think that'd make a pretty good difference.
That would
Yes.
make
I
more
really do.
sense.
It was an expensive project.
Yeah.
Do you, okay, so discussion, do you want us to come back with a resolution for stop signs?
I want to see the old engineering too. Send that, yeah.
He said it's to take out of the
It comes out of church.
Yeah, but a lot of that's grass anyway.
Engineered for improvements.
Yeah.
Yes.
Engineered for improvements.
The way it's laid out, you ought to ask for a refund.
Yeah.
Engineered.
All I can say is there's a four-way stop not very far away that doesn't work, so that intersection ain't gonna work for a four-way.
No, that's why I say leave North Street flow.
Yeah.
And we'll,
Yeah, especially with the whole situation with Lando's.
oh yeah, the
and
curbs
Chef
usually
and
take
the
care of that if
hospital.
they're going too
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I make a motion, we put the stop signs and then the 2 yield signs.
What?
What?
Change the yields to stop signs.
Change the yields to stop signs.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
And-
saying?
And then what?
The north-south
Put
stop
north,
signs.
north-south, let's see,
To stop.
Stop.
stop signs and the yield signs on the east-west.
Oh, you can't do
You don't-
that.
you
That,
can't
that,
go.
that wouldn't work.
It's counterproductive.
gotta have one
You
or
can't
the
do
other.
a stop sign.
Well, which way are you saying then?
I think where there's yield signs on the north and south now, just change them to stop signs.
Yeah.
Then people have to stop
16th
before they
Street.
can enter that intersection.
Yeah, 16th would be the
Would be
stop.
stopping point.
Yep.
the stop signs, and
Yes, now,
east-west,
North Street will just flow through like it does.
There is
Yeah.
no stop on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no sign,
I don't know.
so you want stop signs where the yield signs are?
yes.
Okay.
Well, there's only one yield sign.
There is only one yield sign.
Well, you'd have to put it on the other
Bad would it
side.
be to put a stop sign on
No, there's
northbound 16th, westbound north? So north, and so it was like the street north going to 16th is the thoroughfare. You see almost as many people, I'm out there every day, you see almost as many people go north at least as go east. And it's the northbound that has trouble with vision because of eastbound or westbound traffic.
North
So
and
that would
south
stop
both
them.
Because like, I take it all the time. When I'm at north and south, my wife yells at me all the time because I sneak too far out in the intersection.
East-west needs to have the yield.
You can't have the 2 stop signs and then 2 yield signs facing them. You can't yield to a stop
The
sign.
fast blind traffic, to my eye, is coming from the east. Because they can't,
Coming
you
from the
can't
east,
see
yes.
them.
I
I mean,
agree.
that's where people are
Westbound
like
traffic.
blast out in the intersection. You've seen the accidents. I don't know if you can see where the cause usually is on those.
It's your blindness. If you're heading south, the Landos, during dinner break or whenever, they're trying to get down to CJ's to get food. They fly through there, and people trying to creep out by the church almost get whacked.
And people cut the corner too. They aren't.
Oh, yeah.
They aren't following the curve like
No.
driver's ed.
I'm sure we've all done it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be something better than what we got right now.
Well, stop signs on 16th.
Try it.
Where the yield is, but then we'd have to put one,
On the north and the
On-
south is what
yeah.
you're saying?
Yeah, north
On
and south
16th?
sides,
Yeah.
stop signs.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't like it in a year, you can always change it.
yeah, give it a chance.
So you want north and south on, have the stop
On
signs,
16th, yeah.
and yield
And then
on the
just-
east and
Andy's?
west.
Yeah, somebody
East
went
and
ran
west,
into that years ago.
just-
They're alone.
No,
Doc Anderson.
the only stop
Yeah.
signs are over on 20th and 12th.
Okay.
Make the corner.
So is consensus of council to have that drawn up, written up for next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
The two
It's like
stop
8th
signs.
Street. Your big thoroughfare is 8th Street. They stop at North because you know they're going to turn.
Right.
So it would be the same. I think you'd be fine with that.
Well, I think we need to do something. It's very confusing.
Yeah, actually, it's been argued many, many times.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else on streets?
Hartley Ridge.
Yes.
Where are we at on Hartley Ridge?
They're gonna pour on more on Wednesday. So they've done the cul-de-sac. Now they're planning on pouring down the hill.
They were
Yeah, but
pouring
it-
curb today,
They
I
were
think,
pouring
because
curb
we
today.
couldn't
It
get
was supposed
concrete,
to
they
be
did.
completely done.
The zoning board of appeals that addressed this?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
right.
they addressed this.
One of
at a
them
meeting.
did.
Yeah, one of the boards addressed this about when it should be done. I can't
Yes, it
remember.
was supposed to be completely done on September the 26th.
Okay, so what is your solution for them not to be done on
Well, I
September?
think we need to find them if they're not gonna get it done, because
I
they're
don't,
just gonna keep
we're
putting it
not
off.
in,
Yeah, we
the
kind of,
consequences for them not being done is us taking their money and finishing it ourselves. That's the consequence.
Well, they're just gonna keep dragging this out if we don't do something.
They're pouring on Wednesday.
yeah.
They're
They
pouring,
are going
yes,
to?
the downhill slope, they're gonna pour on Wednesday.
And they poured the curbs today. They were pouring today.
Yep. Yes,
All right, they're gonna get it done, but this has been dragging on for how long?
I know. But they are making progress. I mean, it's not, they poured, what was it, last week or the week before that?
Last week.
Did the cold?
And the week before.
Yeah, and the week before that. They've been
Okay.
working on it.
But it said right here, it said they were supposed to be completely done. One half of Hartley Ridge Drive by the half of the street on Hartley Ridge Lane, and one half of by September the 26th was supposed to be completely done.
Okay.
And that was that the extension that they got this spring? Is that the
I don't know
extension,
when
that
that
last
is
extension that they got probably?
Well, I can't remember.
This was July the 27th.
But again, the consequences are, we go take the money and finish ourselves. That's the way we do it. That's what their money, what is it called? The credit, line of credit. That's what it allows us to do.
Well, as long as they get it done. But
Yeah.
this has been dragging on for how many years now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, anything else on street?
Yeah, I've had a concern brought to me about our street sweeper leaving windrows along the sides. We'll say them contrails. I've actually was given sample pictures.
Yeah.
Samples of the rocks being left along the side, and I mean, like, I don't know the mechanics of a street sweeper particularly well. I don't know if there's anything we can do as far as adjustment or as far as how far over we can get or whatever. This individual was primarily concerned about things being picked up and like they said, they can hear semis go by. This is on the highway, and you can hear the rocks along that are left after the street sweeping. So is it an adjustment issue? Is it something where we just need, like, is it something we can fix by the way we're sweeping?
It's,
Or by a tweak?
the sweeper does a rotation, and it's not gonna be able to catch every single
Everything.
rock out there. And,
Sure.
I mean, that's, you'd have to get a vacuum out to the sides, and I haven't seen this, well, maybe one of those that does a racetrack, but, the way typical street sweepers are designed, you're gonna have a trail, and I don't think we can adjust it, to do either way.
Is it something that we could maybe jet an email off to the manufacturer and be like, this is a concern, and see if they have a recommendation?
Okay.
Just so that we're doing something to, doing our due diligence. That shouldn't take much time.
Okay.
I will agree with Todd, it wasn't that bad when we first got it.
It seems like it's out of
It's gotten a lot
adjustment or
worse
something.
since we've had this machine.
Maybe it's some wear on a part, I don't know. But the manufacturer might be like, oh yeah, they'll want to sell us new parts, but,
We'll wait 6
worth a
months to
shot.
get them from Italy.
I'm sure they might have thoughts anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on street? Water and wastewater? Parks and Rec?
Yes,
Yes,
depot.
yes.
Under the bottom of it, the squares that, or I guess foundation it's setting on, there are no covers on any of those down there.
Yes.
The whole way around that
Those.
depot, there is not a cover. There is animals, whatever,
Or the
kids,
school.
anybody could crawl underneath that
I don't think
depot.
there's any underneath the school either, the old school.
And
We noticed that the other day when we were down there when I was touring and.
I've noticed the door under the bandstand open a number of times when I went by as well.
Oh, really?
The baby
Parks
depot.
one.
Yeah.
The door to the basement under the bandstand, for lack of a better term. I've seen it open when I've gone by before and the light on, and I'd stop and go check it out. I don't know if somebody's breaking in or...
Well, isn't that a
We leave it for a storm shelter.
storm shelter for campers?
Oh,
See, it
so
has to be
People are just
open.
leaving it open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have to leave it for them.
Can we put a motion light in there or something so it's not running all the time?
That's a good idea.
It's more of an attractive thing when it's got a light on because people see it and they want to go check it out.
Okay, anything else under Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport? Police and Fire? Admin and Finance? No appointments?
I don't know, where does nuisance person, do we have a nuisance person, or?
Will's been doing the nuisances, so.
I mean, we haven't gotten any report, and some things are starting to get pretty straggly looking out there.
If you find something that he needs to look at, please submit it.
But, I mean, I can't drive around, it's not really my job to go out and drive around town,
But
is it?
if you happen to see something, that's what I'm saying.
But
If
he
you-
does.
But it'd be nice, you're saying it would be nice to see a rolling report like we used to get.
Yeah, I don't know if you're working on anything, or,
And that way we're not,
But if,
something that everybody knows
yeah.
about, that kind of makes sense.
But if you're seeing something scraggly, like you say, we'd like to know about it, because not everybody can see everything, so, we can try to get that report going.
But I was gonna say, we're not exactly being fair to him either here. He's got like, what, 12 jobs now? Oh, I'm being serious.
And he's-
You want him to
Alright.
maintain this, you want him to build this, you want him to run around and do reports, you want him to go check building codes, you want him to do house demo stuff. I mean, either hire the guy some extra help and make it a full-time position, so he can do these rolling reports that you want, or help him out by turning things in, or you may just have to be like, he's doing the best he can, and if we don't get it this month, we don't get it this month.
A, you're right, but B, I bet he's already got a spreadsheet somewhere.
I talked to Will, and the man is busy,
Yeah,
and we just we sit here and we're like, oh, well, Will can go do that, oh, Will can go do that. I mean, no, he can't.
We had Dave Richardson here doing the same job as Will is, and we
Dave-
hired Butch Schmitz to
Dave
cover.
had a helper.
So,
Right.
He's doing pretty good.
I think Will's doing a great job considering what all we've
Right.
piled on him. And
He's hanging in there, but my concern is also, he's gonna get burned out too. That's a
Yeah.
real concern.
So it probably wouldn't hurt to find a part-time person.
Well, ideally, we'd find
yes.
somebody like what we had Butch. I mean, that worked
Yeah.
really well.
Maybe a
I
retired
think.
person who's just looking, like, not maybe to work in the winter, but to work, spring, summer, early fall.
15, 20 hours a week, maybe less in the
Yeah.
winter,
Yeah,
would be
right.
perfect.
yeah,
That'd be perfect.
yep,
Any bit will help.
exactly.
Anything else on admin and finance? City attorney, I do have an executive session. I don't know who wants to read this.
Throw it down here.
Kevin?
I move the city council recess into executive session for preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property pursuant to KSA 75-4319B6. This meeting will include the mayor, city council, and city administrator. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers. How long you want?
10 minutes,
10 minutes?
I'm thinking.
Let's go 8:35.
All right, have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Austin? It's going? Maybe?
Kind of.
All right, bring this meeting back into session. No binding decisions were made. I think all we've got left is roundtable. Bobby?
Nothing.
Todd?
There's nothing.
Diane?
Good night.
Terry?
No, nothing.
Keith? Parker?
Not tonight.
Nothing? Kevin?
Todd, ain't the big bike race this weekend?
It is. I thought I was saying something about that, but I'm not sure we're supposed to be driving people down there this year. So yeah, big bike race this weekend.
Yeah.
It's gonna be up here by the depot this year, starting and finishing, since they've got, Broadway torn up. And running north on North 7th Street to the trail, in and out, so you shouldn't see a whole lot of bike traffic. That's kind of the idea. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Should have at least a few hundred out-of-towners kind of popping through, hopefully spending some money this weekend.
It's looking nice. To the south of the depot's looking nice too.
Yeah, no, they had the musical or the play up there this weekend, and a lot of really good feedback.
So Shaley Boy's been doing a lot of work.
Oh yeah, they've been
Oh, boy.
working there a lot.
Looks nice.
Should have them doing streets next.
Shaley Boys, Mark and Steve and,
Oh, really?
yeah,
It's looking
Harry.
nice.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Spent a lot of time over there.
Right. And I don't have anything, so.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?